Hey guys, Az here, Chilled Canine, and I am here with the one and only Diamond Hansel. I was telling Diamond this is the third interview I ever have done on my channel, or ever really, and I'm not a professional at interviews. I didn't write anything, I didn't prepare anything. I'm just going to talk to Diamond, and I know a lot of you might not know who Diamond is, so you guys are going to find out why I flew down to Tennessee 3 days ago, and I've been training with Diamond for the last 3 days with my dog Gage. Some of you guys may know Gage from the channel, and Diamond's been helping me in all 3 phases of IGP: tracking, obedience, protection. And I preach this on my channel all the time. It's really important to find people that are better than you at specific things in order to improve yourself, and Diamond is one of the guys that I go to. Not just once, not twice. I've trained with you multiple times.
Multiple times over the years, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so Diamond is one of those guys that I really trust his opinion. I trust him with my dog. I trust him with my training. And without further ado, I'm going to have Diamond introduce himself to you.
Okay, yeah, so I'm Diamond Hansel. I'm the owner of DNC Dog Training, that we do a plethora of things. So a hobby that we do, and we also do professionally as well, is in the sport of IGP. So we do that. We have our own club and training. Me and my wife both compete. We have a dog training team. Helped many people over the years. Been doing it a long time. We have a pet business. You can go on, dncdogtraining.com. We have a Patreon.
We'll put the link. We'll put the links for all that stuff, guys. Their website, the Patreon. It's all going in the description below.
Yeah, so I mean the main thing we do is pet dog training. That's the most important thing. Board and trains, things of that nature. Over the years we've gotten super heavy into IGP. We deal with police, canines, and yeah, basically the gambit of it.
Yeah, and that's one thing I liked about Diamond is he's not a myopic dog trainer. He's like me in that he's interested in a plethora of things in dog training, whether it's the protection dogs, the police dogs, the pet dogs. He does it all, and he's been doing it all. And I find that those are the best trainers to work with because they have more of a breadth of understanding, because their experience isn't limited to a unidimensional pursuit, whether it's a specific sport or just doing the pet stuff or whatever else. I like trainers that have a broad variety. I find they're the easiest for me to work with.
Yeah, and it all ties in together, with the police canines and what it takes to go out there on the streets to have that intensity, to do the job for real, helps you carry over into the sport of IGP. When it comes to protection, the things you're looking for, the intensity on the track, and then a lot of the technical aspects of IGP transfers into the pet dog training. Mm-hmm. If you can teach a dog to get dumbbells and have beautiful healing, you should pretty much be able to teach them how to walk on a leash, go to place, things of that nature. And then dealing with a lot of imports and different canines, you really learn about aggression and dominance. So when you get those dogs that are dog aggressive, human aggressive, fear reactive, you get used to these types of dogs, and they all tie into each other across the board.
That's right. Now, Diamond just told you about his businesses. He hasn't told you about what he's done. So Diamond, why don't you tell the people what you've done? Because Diamond is a guy that I think you keep a bit of a lower profile on social media. You don't put yourself out there like a lot of other guys do. So people that are in the sport know you, but I don't think the public at large knows you as much as they should. So why don't you tell them what you do?
So you're talking about competitively?
No, tell them your resume. You're in the military.
Yeah, so I've been in the military, law enforcement for a long time. I won't go into all the things that I do. But on the Army side, like I said, been in law enforcement, tons of different jobs, traveled around the world, deployed quite a few times. So I do that. So you get to see the military law enforcement side. You get to see the canines in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we have some pretty big kennels. So dealing with them, seeing them, working close with it, being on that side, and then seeing all the trainers over the years tie in with us and what do they do and how they tie in. So I know it from a military aspect, and that's what really crossed me over to the sport, is loving dogs in that way. As a competitor in IGP, independently, national champion, 9th, 19th, 20th in the world. I've helped I've been the training helper for dogs that have literally competed at every nationals in the United States and in Canada, Hungary, FCI, FMBB dogs, WSV dogs, across the board. So I've been able to help out a lot of people as a helper, as a trainer. We've had so many dogs over the years that we've really been able to coach there. And then, we say all the time that we're a trainer of trainers, and that helps us as well. Over the years, we've gotten to the point that it's very rare that I have people, outside of just like the regular club, that are coming in that are just regular trainers starting out, or an individual just kind of working with their own dog. We've really gotten into most people that are coming are pretty high level trainers and very successful trainers. So being able to help them and kind of help them grow, and it makes us better because it's not somebody I can, you're not going to make something up or lie to them. They're very knowledgeable people, so you have to be truthful. You got to be on your game, and you can't fake the funk. So, like I said, it helps me out well-rounded.
Yeah, I know when I'm dealing with bullshit.
Yeah.
I know. So, like, if I dealt with you, the first time I met you, I think, was 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
About 5 years ago, yeah.
5 years ago. Man, it doesn't seem like that.
I know, it goes fast, right?
Yeah, in Canada. I think Candace, our mutual friend, who has a dog from you, by the way, brought you up for a seminar. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'd heard about you a little bit. I said, let me go see what this Diamond guy's all about. And I liked it. I liked your vibe. I liked the way you trained the dog. You understood the dog. You understood what you were looking at. You didn't make up some happy horse shit to try and make me feel better, or to to pump up your ego, because I've definitely run into both of those when I'm dealing with guys that are supposedly experts. Yeah. But you kind of you understood what I was doing. You had insightful things to add to what I was doing. You didn't try to change everything, but at the same time, you added to the situation. You gave me a productive direction to follow, and you made the dog better. And that's what I look for, obviously. I'm not looking to change everything that I'm doing. I'm looking to improve what I'm doing.
Yeah. And across, when it comes to those, seminars, workshops, and I've been doing this quite a while by this point. Everybody does it different and good on them. But for me, I just want to leave people with a tool, right? I'm not here to teach you the whole thing, and I just do things that I enjoy, and that's what drives my life. I don't do what sells or anything. I do what I enjoy. And I don't enjoy just putting up a PowerPoint and being like, this is operant conditioning, this is classical conditioning. That's just not for me. What I always was drawn to is the people that can actually show me. And what I don't like is you tell me how you train your dog, then we go out there and you can't fix my problem, but you tell me to stop because I didn't do the foundation your way. I like people with that toolbox that, yes, maybe the way that they do it is better. That's not what I mean by any means, but I was always drawn to people that had that toolbox that even though I didn't do the foundation their way, they can help me in some way. So if I can just leave each person, I don't want to revamp how you do your obedience. I don't want to revamp who you are as a trainer, but if I can help you with a little bit of your healing problem, or not you, your healing's beautiful, but or a dumbbell or a send out, or some Holden Bark stuff, right? If I can give you one thing where you go, this is going to make my dog and my training more complete, I find that better than telling you how I train dogs from start to finish, right? Because that's very me centric, and yes. I like to make it about you.
Yes, I and don't get me wrong, I actually enjoy seminars where a trainer will share his theory. What we went to was a workshop. It wasn't a seminar. And the difference is a seminar is more the trainer is going to walk you through what they do from the bottom to the top, how they develop a dog and how they teach and form all the behaviors. And a workshop is more, what are you doing? How can I make it better? And I made the mistake once. I'm going to tell you this, guys. I made the mistake once of I have a certain system that I follow. I don't just do shit. I actually have a system that I'm following. I have something in my head. I know where I'm going. I know why I did everything I did. And I went to a world level guy who was brought in to do a workshop. And he didn't like my healing. He didn't like my basic position. He didn't like any of that stuff. So he basically said, give me the leash, give me this, we're going to change everything. And he started changing everything. And my dog became so stressed out and so confused because all the signals that he was receiving were none of the signals he had received.
Yeah, he doesn't understand
The
it.
signals being the voice commands, the leash pressure, the reward placement, all those things changed. And basically we started speaking a completely different language to him. It caused so much stress and it set us back. You know, I think I was repairing the damage from that for months. And I really kicked myself. I was like, why the fuck did you let that guy do that shit to your dog? You knew it wasn't, but you're there, you're in the seminar, everybody's there, you know, it's that situation. To my shame, I was peer pressured into basically doing something I knew wasn't good for me or my dog.
Yep, and it's hard when you're on the spot.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's one thing. It's like I said after that, I will never work with anybody that does that again.
Yep.
I work with guys like Diamond because he's not going to say, all right, you know, let's do some crazy shit. It's more, okay, this is what you're doing. This is how you can make it better. And that's so important. Let's jump out of the sport for a second.
Yep.
And let's talk about the pet training. Because I know a lot of people that watch, they just got a pet.
Yep.
They have a nice dog that it lives with their family. You run a pet training business, as do I.
Yes.
And, you know, let's talk about some of the most common mistakes you see people make with their pets.
So the most common mistakes, one is not understanding the living situation with a dog and controlling their environment, right? So number one is little simple stuff. So we're not even going to get into the aggression. Things, you know, he's using the bathroom in the house, or he tore up this, or, you know, running around. Little things that if you just simply understood a crate. Like a crate is not punishment for a dog. Like so many people believe that, oh, if I put them in a crate, they'll be sad and it's away from us. But in the beginning, you condition the puppy and the young dog, or even if you get a rescue or an older dog, for the crate. It's a safe place. It's a good place. It's your place. In the wild, they're going to go into a den, a tight little space. So you can control them from destroying your house by putting them in the crate. If you're just leaving them loose and they haven't, you know, they're going through teething or they're maturing and not controlling that environment, you're going to have issues when you feed them versus letting them out. When you restrict access to water in the evening is really going to save you from waking up at 1, 3 o'clock in the morning to let a puppy or a young dog out to the bathroom. So tons of stress is created by not controlling the environment. That's number one. Number two is proper communication with the dog and being consistent. And so we tell people all the time, when I get a dog in and I have to, when I'm teaching them commands, I can never ask my dog to do something that I cannot reward or punish. Right? So I'm not, if he's out in the yard running around, I'm not going to say, Fluffy, come. And let's say he's 5 months old, he's out running around going crazy, and I say, Fluffy, come. And he turns and comes screaming to me. The worst thing I could do is not have a reward for the dog. Or, Fluffy, come, and he blows me off, and I don't have a way to give that dog guidance that that's not okay. Because dogs see the world with, like, picture just a bunch of doors. There's 10 doors. But the far right door is what I want them to go through. They're going to check every single door, right? They're going to do what's in their best interest. They're going to take the laziest way to reward and you know, fulfill their drives and their nature. So I must always show them the first 9 doors are locked. And as they check them, if they're locked, they're less likely to try them in the future. And they're always going to go to the open door. Because not going to that door, not good things happen, and going to that door, great things happen. And just being consistent with their dogs. This is not okay. This is okay. I have a way to let you know that it's not all right, and I have a way to reward you. And when the dogs understand those simple things, if I can control their environment, and I understand how to correct and reward my dog, 99% of the world would never need a dog trainer.
I agree. And that's something that, you know, I've said to you guys a lot before, and I harp on people all the time. It's like releasing a dog in your house and expecting it to make good decisions, especially as it's the same thing as taking a toddler and just turning a toddler loose in your home that you haven't baby-proofed, and without a diaper, without any baby gates, and just hoping he isn't going to fall down the stairs, pull stuff off the tables, choke on something, just, piss on the floor, whatever it is. Your human baby can't do that.
No.
Why the hell would you expect your dog baby to be able to do that?
Or something simple. 3 months old, they can, general rule of thumb, 3 hours. 4 months old, 4 hours. But you're going to lock a 5-month-old dog up, go to work for 8 hours, come back, and you're mad that they urinated in it. Get a dog walker. Maybe it's not the right time for you to have them in your life, or develop a situation, or maybe, hopefully it's close enough. And many times, like, I'll go do something, I come back, I let him out and I play. I put him up, I go back, finish my day, come back, let him out. When you take on this dog, you're making a choice and a commitment, right? The same way you would to a child. So if you're not in a place in your life to have the dog, you shouldn't have one. And if you do, it's going to inconvenience you a little bit, right? Like, you're going to have to come home on lunch and let them out. Don't just turn them loose in the backyard and leave them alone. Like, you're just going to come loose in the back. No, if I let my dogs out, I watch them. And another secret that people don't realize is they have a beautiful backyard, the shaded area, and all this. And then, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to put him in the backyard. And I'm going to come home, and he's going to have all that energy out of him. He's going to be chill. I had a long day at work. I'm going to sit on the couch, and I'm going to relax. Well, now Spunky's super excited to see you and play. How? He's been in the backyard for 8 hours. But what you don't realize is Spunky likes engagement. They're pack animals. And if you set up a video camera, what you're going to realize with Spunky is he laid there and slept for 8 hours waiting on you to come home. He didn't run circles and do a marathon and get himself exhausted. He went to bed for 8 hours and you got home and he's super excited. And so people have a hard time with that as well. I had a long day's work. I come back. I don't have time to walk this dog to get the energy out of him, right? And they don't understand that piece.
Yeah, that's a critical thing. I mean, if you're going to, I always, the whole goal of my training system, and I'm sure your training system as well, from what I've seen, it's about convenience. It's about convenience for the owner and for the dog, but you still have to put that time, that effort in, and that upfront work. And puppies, just like kids, are a lot of work. But if you put that work in and you set your life up, you create a management system and a training system that's conducive to the dog understanding the rules and fitting into your life, it's going to be easy, and the dog is going to be a net positive for you instead of this hassle that a lot of people end up with because they don't put in that work. They don't put in that time. They don't seek professional help when they need it. And then they just end up with this animal that's making their life difficult. Then they don't like the dog. Either they don't look after him properly or they give him up. Yeah. And, we see this all the time.
Yeah, you put that money in up front, just like with your retirement. I'm putting up money up front. I'm putting in the work. So later, I can relax and enjoy life. It's the same way with the dogs. That first 1 year, 2 year, put in tons of work, all this effort. So by the time the dog's 3 or 4, for the rest of their life, you have a great relationship. They know when to relax. They have a system. They have a rotation. They know when we're going to go play. Energy output versus in the house we don't play. Like just simple things. If you put money in the bank up front, you're going to have such an enjoyable time down the road.
Mm-hmm. But I remember you were telling me you actually grew up with dogs.
Yeah, my whole life. So I spent a lot of time with my grandfather, and we had working dogs of every aspect. Like, we always had the German Shepherds, and to me, a beautiful male sable German Shepherd with good orthopedics and a big head will forever be my favorite dog. I absolutely love them, and that's why people always say, well, you're a Malinois guy. I just saw so much heartbreak with the health that the Malinois weren't having, and that's why I actually crossed over to the Malinois side. But every hunting season, as you could imagine, from the time I could walk, we were out hunting. We had the bird dogs, we had the beagles. So my entire life and all of my summers was spent with working dogs. Mm-hmm. And when I was young, it was kind of, you're a kid and it's just your habit. So it's not like when I was young, I was like, I'm going to be a dog trainer or really paying attention. But you're seeing lots of really cool training. And when you're that young, you just kind of pick up on it. Like how to load them into the kennel, how to get them out, how to take the young dogs and bring them up, and the beagles, and how do you tell if one runs good, and the German short-haired pointers, which ones are going to nail it, and so you watch it and you kind of pick it up, and it's secondary. So my entire life has been surrounded by working dogs. Mm-hmm. And then joining the military, my first Malinois I saw in Afghanistan when it loaded up my truck, and I'm like, what's this little thing, right, with the muzzle and looking crazy and keeps punching me in the leg, right? Like, what's this thing? So that's when I found the Malinois. My first duty station in the military was in Stuttgart, Germany. So being over in Germany, you start to see these little fields off to the left, and you know, what's this stuff? So that was my introduction to the sport world. Yeah, and then coming from the military side, all I cared about was protection. I didn't care about all this other stuff. I just cared about protection. So then I found out you could be a helper. You can decoy these police dogs, and you can do helper work over here, and I'm going to teach them to be a real dog, right? And oh, these sport dogs aren't nothing. This is what a real dog is, right? Like our young arrogance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it, right? So I'm doing this, and I'm hanging out with all these amazing trainers. Like, I got to be around so many great human beings that taught me so much. But I really wasn't fascinated with the obedience and that tracking. Why are you going so slow? We got to hunt somebody down, right? This dog's sniffing every footprint. We're never going to find the guy, right? This is silly to me. But being around all these great trainers, I started to pick up on some of the shoots and stuff. And then, because especially when you're young, you have this ego. So for many years, I was doing helper work and stuff. And I went to tell a lady something about her obedience, because I know much more about obedience than her. That obedience is terrible, right? And I go, hey, you should do this for your obedience. And she looked at me and she goes, you're just a helper. And I said, no, but your obedience, you can do this. And she goes, well, you've never done anything. So my ego got to me, and I'm going to show you. So that's the only reason I started competing is my young, arrogant ego. And that's what drove me to love obedience so much. Now, along this journey, I became obsessed with it, right? 3 high obedience national titles. I became obsessed with it. You know, I have a high national tracking title and tons of these. But the journey started through ego. And I'm going to prove it wrong, and I'm going to prove them wrong. And then I started going down, and I became obsessed with it, because I'm a dog man. Like, anytime you see me, I have a dog out. You know, if you see puppies running, I'm just watching them. Like, I'm obsessed with animal behavior and who they are. So along the way, I start to love this journey and this obsession with it. And then I found the love in it, like just sitting out there tracking. And a lot of people hate it. I love it. You know, just sitting out there, it's you and your dog. It's such a quiet time, and you can connect, and the play after the track, and that stuff meant so much. And then you grind and you grind. You win this national championship to prove somebody wrong. And you go, well, that doesn't make you feel any different. It does nothing, right? But then, as you mature and you get older and your ego starts to get set to the side, you go, oh, this journey. That's what I enjoyed. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the training, not this stuff over there. My favorite thing in this world is to get a fearful pet dog come in that's scared of the world, won't do anything, and by the time it's all said and done, they can walk through the store, they can go to the park, they can greet people. Like, it has nothing to do with the sport. Yes. I love dogs, right? Yes. And that's my absolute favorite thing. And I need a lot of, you know, I know you have tons of pet people and maybe some young trainers out there. And if there's any young trainers, my biggest thing is, if you're doing it for money, you'll never be successful. Yes. If you love dogs and this is your passion, you'll be able to communicate with them. Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to connect on a level. We're all broken in some way. And when you see a broken dog, you can be like, dude, that's me. Yes. I get it, right? Yes. And you can connect. And when you see them build up, there's something in it. That will forever mean more to me than any trophy, any title, anything else. So young trainers really have to be in it for the right reason. And when you're in it for the right reason, you're going to do right by the dog. And when you do right by the dog, handlers are going to understand this, right? The owners will understand this, your passion, and the money will come. Always.
And that's one thing I see now with the industry is really in the last, I would say 5 years, and I'm talking like just the general dog training industry has really blown up. And there's more trainers out there than ever before. Yes. And a lot of them are kind of copycatting from what they see on social media, this, that, and everything else. A lot of them don't have the story you have, or the story I have, or, you know, it's more of, hey, they're making lots of money. Mm-hmm. I want to make lots of money too. Oh, look, I went and did a 1 month course. Let me now hang a shingle out, and I'm a dog trainer. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you can do that, but after a while, it just becomes another job. Yep. You hate the dog, and I've seen it. I've had people come through my business that you know did that, and you know they're doing their own thing right now, and I see it. I see it in the dogs. They don't like training the dogs, and the dogs don't like training with them. Nope. And you know, and the product represents the passion that the individual
Yep.
or individuals have. And, you know, can you make money doing it? Yes, but if there's longevity, there has to be passion if you want longevity.
Yep. And unfortunately, most of them come and go. And the unfortunate part is so many dogs get messed up in the process.
Yes.
So I can't, thousands of dogs over the years. You know, going back to 10 years ago, there was 2 of us in this area. If I open up Google Ads now, there's probably 70 trainers,
Yeah.
like around here. And there's so many people that go, they want to save a dime, they want to save a buck,
Yep.
right? And we get them, and it's like, oh, I went through this trainer, I went through this trainer, and then they come here, and we spend more time fixing other trainers' problems than just doing it right from the beginning. You know, you get a young dog, go to the right place,
Yes.
right? When you see it, and you see something, it's like if you're sitting there next to a Toyota shop and a Ferrari shop, this one's more expensive for a reason,
Yes.
right? So don't go to the budget place. If it comes with a massive discount, I'm not saying, you know, there's times and places for it,
Yeah.
but if it's like 1/3 the price or a quarter the price of everybody, there's a reason for it. And to see how passionate they are, and I can drive it around, and we can go down to the Tractor Supply or over to the park, and there's going to be some 20 or 30-year-old with a prong and a dog training shirt
Yeah.
cranking on a dog.
Yep.
And the dog has no idea what you're asking them. You know, we got a dog in that, you know, I saw the dog when he was a puppy. I wasn't training him. I just knew the guy. I saw the dog when he was a puppy. Super social, sweet dog. Goes off, goes to a trainer, comes back. And the dog, when he hears children, loses his mind. It's crazy. He's going to attack and kill all these kids. Every time he hears a child's voice or screaming. Well, come to find out, at 6 months old, they put an e-collar on him, and they're going to teach him obedience by a playground. Right? And now you're hearing, like, it's these little simple things that I wish people would get educated on when it comes to it. So it's an unrestricted business,
Yeah.
for sure, which is good. Like, I like
It is.
like it's good and bad.
Yes.
It's good in the sense that there's certain people, like, you don't need to tell me how to train a dog,
Nope.
right? I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it ethically, and I enjoy that. But then there's this other part of me that is willing to go through all the silliness just to, like, stop some of the individuals that are doing that.
Well, these are those types of people that you're referring to. I call them tool jockeys. Their
Yeah.
training ability does not progress past whatever tool they like to use, whether it's a gentle leader, an e-collar, a pinch collar.
Yeah.
That's all they're, oh, look, you know, I bang on him with this and he listens to me. And it's like, okay, I know how to train dogs. And they don't realize that that's a short road to nowhere.
Yep.
And they don't bother to enhance their knowledge and their ability. I would say that, so a lot of people talk about regulation in dog training. Here's the problem with regulation. Unfortunately, and I don't need to tell you, you work in government,
Yeah.
I used to work in government, there is no one more incompetent than government.
Yeah.
Literally, you do not want them in charge of anything other than, even, listen, they can't even do roads properly. Their fundamental responsibilities, they cannot do them properly without wasting tons of money. There's a lot of waste. Things aren't done efficiently. There's no the best practice. So guys, the camera cut me off because I was talking about the government. I think they must be listening in. So anyways, bottom line, there are a lot of people that say, oh, you know, we need someone to regulate the dog. Who's going to I'll tell you who's going to regulate the dog training industry. It's going to be the veterinary behaviorists who can't train a dog to even sit reliably. It's going to be, you know, the cookie trainers that are aligned with them. And it's going to be basically what they have going on in Western Europe right now. You're not allowed to put a dog in a crate. You can't use any pressure in training. Things that are that fundamentally run against all the real all the things that we know about dogs and how they think and they learn and they communicate. Things that run completely counter to that, but they sound good and they feel good.
Yeah.
Those are the types of people that are going to end up in charge of any kind of regulation, which is why I am staunch. I think they'll cause more damage than all the bad trainers that we could even think about combined.
And I'm completely against it, and I agree with you 100%. So that's why me and Christina over the years, because when I see young trainers that are messing stuff up, or, you know, this is for pet dog training, this is young helpers, I always tell them, like, you know, there's a point where I'm like, listen, you can come here. Like, if I see it's going wrong, if I see a young helper with potential, hey, come here. I'm going to help you out for free.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see you on the right path, doing the right thing. If it's a young pet trainer that I'm out and about town and I see something, I'll go up and give them a card and go, listen, you can come out 2 weeks for free. I'm going to help you out. So we do our best to give back to help individuals, and they're going to go make money. Like, that's not going to take. There's plenty of mouths to be fed. Like, it's fine. Like, me helping a trainer, I'm not that person like, oh, it's going to take it from me. It never will, right? I'm not worried about that. But we will pull them in all the time and help them out and educate them, because it's important, because they're a representation of us. If enough of them are out there doing the wrong thing, then it affects us, right? And then people are going to come for it. I understand why people get upset about certain tools or training and this and that, because people are doing it the wrong way.
Yes.
These tools are so important to communicate to the dog right and wrong and consistent, and they're happy and they're free and they love it when communicated correctly, and we need them. So all we can do is do our best to give back, to make sure younger people or newer people, regardless of age, into this industry are helped out to make sure they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, you know, and it's always like when you look at something from a more macro level, like policing the dog training industry, you have to always, a lot of people just jump to the, oh, that sounds good, so let's implement it. And really, sometimes when something sounds good, when you do it, the actual result and repercussion of it creates way more problems than it solves.
Way more.
So, like I said, guys, like, you know, in my opinion, it's not even my opinion, it's just a firm belief that, I don't know if you'll disagree with me or not, any kind of regulation of the dog industry will result in far more dogs being left up shit creek without a paddle.
Absolutely.
Because the correct types of training and trainers will not come to the top when something like that is implemented. It'll be those individuals that we mentioned, the ideological, the people that promote a utopian ideology that sounds good, that feels good, that collects money for their charities and their, the humane societies and all that type of stuff, that unfortunately more interested in perpetuating itself instead of actually solving behavior problems and making people's lives and dogs' lives better.
Yeah, like anybody that says they can fix dominance, true human aggression, or dog aggression with a cookie is so full of crap.
Yeah.
It's the absolute farthest from the truth. And I have opened the door many times. Anybody that tells me that I can do this positively, I promise you I have 3 dogs in my kennel, you are free. I will fly you here. And I have 3 dogs that listen, and if you can do, I'll give you money.
Yeah.
You show me with the cookie how you're going to stop that from attacking another dog. Go ahead, right? But, of course, use correctly. I'm not saying we don't reward the dog. Of course we do, right?
Yes.
But there must be clear communication. There must be negatives and there must be positives in the dog's life that are fair, clear, and understood. This is the only way you can do that. You take the truest form of dominance. Many people confuse dominance with fear reactivity. That is not dominance, right? A dominant dog, you will not keep in line with a cookie. There must be corrective devices used correctly, right? So I'm staunch on supporting them, understanding them. The electric collar is so important for off-leash reliability. In my house, in my yard, I don't need them walking around with a leash dragging around or anything like that.
It's
I can
2022.
communicate anywhere. This is insanity, right? There's so much easy ways to hold a dog accountable, and they're more happy because they're free. They don't have this built-up anxiety of no one is letting me know what's right and wrong and what's expected of me, and to have that individual that I can look to and listen to and have that connection with. It's the most important thing. You take all the stress off of a dog by doing that for them, not letting them make life choices in this human world that they don't understand.
It's like if you, I try to explain it to people, you know, so that they can understand the danger of falling into this mindset. Because on the surface, I understand the appeal, especially if you don't know really anything about dogs, dog training. You haven't really directed any time, energy, or effort towards thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, they're wonderful creatures. We love them. We love our dog. We never want to correct the dog.
Yeah.
We want the dog to be happy all the time, and we want the dog to love us. Who doesn't want that?
Absolutely.
So then, of course, when you have that emotion about your dog, you're very susceptible to that message, that force-free, positive-only, correcting your dog is violent, your dog will hate you forever, all this type of stuff. But when you stop and you really think about it, imagine if you lived in a world where you didn't understand the language. You didn't understand what people were saying, okay, number one. You didn't understand the rules. You didn't understand how to avoid, getting lost, getting hurt, getting into trouble. And the people that were in charge of your welfare refused to communicate effectively. We'll just tell you when you're right, but we won't tell you when you're wrong, right? In a way that you understand. Right? Because I know the positive, we tell them when we're wrong. No, you don't. No, not in a way they understand. That's why they keep doing the wrong thing over and over again. And we're just going to set you free in this world and hope you do well. And really, most of these dogs live terrible lives. They don't ever get off the leash except when they get taken to the, dog park, which is in and of itself a horrifically stressful place. Yeah. They live this minimal lifestyle. They're the only place they're free is in the yard or in the dog park. Our dogs, even our dogs that have all the aggression and the dominance that you were talking, they live free, man. Yeah. My dog, if I take him out in the gas station, usually I don't even bother with a leash. Yep. He walks next to me. Hey, go pee over there. He goes, he pees over there. Yep. And I know, I saw you with your dog. It's the same. That's real training. Yeah. And people don't comprehend that, but I understand why they're so susceptible to this. It's like a lot of things. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like there's always an example of, we got a golden retriever over there that has no dog aggression, no human aggression, super lazy. Yeah, for sure. You could do that for a cookie because nothing outweighs it.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
If a rabbit runs by, he's whatever. Car goes by, whatever. Dog walks by, lunging at him, whatever.
Yes.
I could do that with a cookie. Do that with one of my working dogs. Or I got, we have tons of dogs over there in that pet kennel, from cattle dogs, Dobermans, and good luck, man. It's not going to happen. And when you do it correctly, we're actually doing better for the dog because now they're not in harm's way. They don't have to worry about it. And I don't have to nag them throughout their life or trick them throughout their life.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I do it 1 or 2 times to let them know it's unacceptable. And when it's clear to the dog, for the most part, it goes away.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to deal with it for the rest of their life. Every now and then, maybe a little reminder, hey, man, knock that off. But it's the best thing you can do, right? I'm not having to constantly nag them or constantly trick them or avoid them. Or I can't, when I go for a walk, I got to make sure that it's 9 o'clock at night and there's nobody else on the street, right? Well, why don't we just fix this so regardless of what time, let the dog see daylight. Let's take him for a walk. It's okay, right? And we can fix that. So yeah, it drives me crazy.
It's funny. And again, we get into the tools. I was telling you before, a lot of the time we'll get dogs 2 years old, 3 years old, and the owners can't walk them on the street during the day because it's an embarrassment, or they're afraid that they're literally going to get pulled down and their dog's going to chew up another dog and they're going to get sued or whatever else. We take those dogs, we don't put a single tool on that dog first couple days. Just a trainer, a slip lead, and we take that dog, and our kennel's full of dogs, and our property always have people coming in and out, and within a couple days, vast majority of those dogs are behaving themselves. No, we're not talking obedience, we're just talking, they're just behaving.
Just behaving, yeah.
Right? Fundamental communication. Doesn't even require a pinch collar or an e-collar a lot of the time. Right? Just to get that baseline of, hey man, this is how I want you to act. This is how you need to deal with the world around you.
Yep.
And so many people lack that. That's the problem too. So like, it's hard to kind of, because people are kind of all in on some things or other. It's like, okay, prong collars are really fantastic tools.
Yes.
E-collars are probably the best invention in dog training ever.
Absolutely.
But that's not all there is.
No.
That is it enhances your ability. It's an enhancer to your ability. It doesn't provide anything that wasn't already there in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you see that a lot where people just think, okay, the tool is either evil or it's the answer to everything.
Yeah, and like when we use it too, like you said, it's off. Like, I got my young dog and we go out tracking this morning. He's on a flat collar and I tell him to walk next to me, completely loose leash, for 100 yards up to a track where there's food that he really wants to get and really wants to go to, but yet he walks next to me on a flat collar. I didn't need a prong there. I didn't need an electric there. Like, it's communication, but those tools led to certain behaviors, and I don't need them all the time. But because it's so reliable and we shut 9 out of those 10 doors, if he's out there running around with no collar and I tell him to come here, he's going to come here. If I tell him to heel, he's going to come heel. If I tell him to go to place, he's going to go to place, right? But it was the foundation of using those things, right?
Yes.
It's not you need them all the time or
forever.
what am I? Or you don't need them forever, or what am I going to do when the treats go away? Like this is just lack of knowledge, and that's what we get paid to do. We get paid to educate owners on this stuff when they come out and train with us. It's like, listen, the food goes away. The tools aren't forever, but once we close 9 of those doors and just show them that 10's available, we're off to the races. And you can get out there and get after it, and you don't have all these issues.
Yeah, I watched you walk your dog from the van. I said, oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just on a flat collar, the dog's right next to you. No problemo, right up to the track.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back afterwards.
Yeah, we get done, we're done with the track, he's got his ball, we get done playing, heel.
Yeah.
And he's leaned against my leg, and
But it's the fundamental reason. The fundamental reason is, number one, you train the behavior.
Yep.
Number two, you reinforce the behavior. Maybe you use tools in the process.
Yep.
And number three, the dog knows, hey, I'm not wearing any of these devices, but Daddy's still going to hold me accountable.
Still going to hold me accountable.
He doesn't need tools to hold me accountable.
And the behavior feels good.
Yes.
They like the behavior.
Yeah.
There's comfort in the behavior, right? Like
Yes.
the behavior is a reward.
Yes.
And a lot of people forget that piece, and that's when a lot of the stuff gets to go away.
There's, what were you telling me? There's have to, and then want to.
There's have to,
Yes.
there's want to,
Yep.
and then there's need to.
And need to is where you want to be.
Need to is where I need to go, right? If I just use forceful corrections, you have to do that. The dog will consistently do it, but they're not happy. They're not open. There's free. Then there's want to. There's a cookie. There's a reward in there for me. But it's only if that outweighs something else that I want to do. But when both are used correctly, the behavior becomes a need to.
Yeah.
The dog wants to do it. He has to do it. And that sweet spot, when the rewards go away and the tools go away, is need to. And that means the behavior feels good. Just the behavior. There's a possibility of a reward. There's the avoidance of punishment. Both of these are good. None of us like to get punished.
Nope.
All of us like to get rewarded. So they have both of these. And in between is this thing that avoids one and leads to another. And it feels good. Why do our dogs heel on a Schutzen field with no tools on them, no ball? You think they don't know you don't have that stuff? You think they don't know that they're on, oh, my dog's trial-wise. No, he just doesn't want to be with you.
Yes.
Because you made him have to do it, and then it went away.
That's right.
And he realized he no longer has to, and he doesn't want to or need to. Now the dog's down, tail's tucked, they're flat, because it's the wrong way, right? So the dogs that maintain drive throughout the routine, and they're confident and they're secure, is because healing feels good. Sit, oh, he's walking away from me. Is he doing the thing? Oh, he's coming back to me. That felt nice. Plots. Oh, I get a run. I get to do this recall thing, right? There's enjoyment in the behavior. And this is the most important thing, to have a desire to do it. And this is with our pet dogs too. My dog likes going for a walk and heeling next to me. Not sniffing the ground, not lunging at dogs, going for a walk. And then the reward is I go, free. And he gets to the end of the line, he sniffs the ground, he goes pee on the telephone pole, I'm sniffing stuff, heel, and he runs back over. He's like, oh, this is cool. When's he going to tell me to do that again?
Yeah.
I didn't give him a cookie. I didn't correct it. It led to these behaviors, but he likes it. He enjoys it. And we go for a 4-mile walk every evening. It's his favorite thing to do. I get a walk next to Dad. He's going to let me sniff something. I get a walk next to, as silly as it is. He loves these things.
And that's, I think, also something everybody that, I know a lot of people that watch this channel train their own dogs. There's a lot of DIYers on there. A lot of people that are in our Elite Off Leash course. Guys, we lost battery power, but we are back in the mix. We're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about something that that Christina, your wife, actually. So for those of you that don't know, if you deal with Diamond in any capacity, you will also deal with his wife, Christina, who is herself an accomplished competitor in the field of IGP.
And the eyes behind the scene. She's
right.
all of our spotters and everything else, so she runs the show.
Yeah, she's a fantastic dog trainer as well. But she was bringing up something that I think is important to talk about for those of us that have pet owners that utilize electric fences.
Yes.
What were you saying about electric fences?
I hate electric fences, and this is why. So I will preface it with, So many owners over the years, I get it. And most of the time it's from a homeowners association.
Yeah.
Right? They live in an area where they like won't let them build a fence, right? It's very common in the United States. I don't know how it is, up there for you. But many people, they won't allow them to have a fence. But they want to just let their dogs loose in the backyard. So they put up an electric fence. And some of them do a good job. They'll walk the perimeter with their dog and kind of show them, hey, this is where you stop, this is what you do. Then you put it on there and they kind of cut them loose. This is the worst thing you can do. Because as you know, dogs have superstitious behaviors. So that's why if I'm using the electric, it's very important for me to use communication. So if a dog's digging in the backyard, I don't just hide in the window and use the e-collar like so many people tell you to do. Oh, the dog will stop digging that hole. That's not how dogs think. Some may go, oh, digging this hole did it. Some will say the grass did it, and they'll never walk on grass again. Some will say the backyard did it, and they will urinate while you try to drag them into the backyard and will forever be scared of it. Some, if they see something, will think that the other dog did it or a human did it, and then it leads to aggression towards them. So if a dog is digging in the backyard, and if I were to correct that way, it's important that I say, no, correction. So the dog goes, that was from him. He doesn't like this. Very clear. It avoids superstitious behaviors. So many dogs over the years have come to us that literally want to kill the mailman. No other friends, no other family, nobody that comes over and visit. That's weird. The mailman. Almost every time, it's an electric fence. Because if your friends or family are coming over, what do? They give you a call, a shout, usually. And you take your dog, I'll put him inside. Bring the dog inside. The mailman, you don't know when he's coming. So then, this super friendly dog goes running over there, gets hit. Did that guy hit me? Tomorrow he comes back. Oh, I'm going to go say hello. I think this guy got me. And now it leads towards aggression to them, or people going by, or cars. It leads to so many superstitious behaviors, and you know it's such because it's very directed. It's not just men, it's men with a black hat. Well, come to find out, there's a guy with a black hat that every evening when he gets off work, walks by, right? And it's directed towards somebody, a man with a black hat, a mailman, a child on a bicycle, right? And it drives me crazy. If you please do not put an electric fence. Hopefully you live somewhere where you can put up a fence, right? And you can have control. And if not, be responsible and teach them and watch them when they go outside, how to recall, how to come in, take them out on a leash. They have to go to the bathroom. Do the right thing if that's your living situations. It leads to so many problems.
Yeah, like I get why people use it. We don't have them as much up in Canada, but I certainly do deal with clients that do have them. I've certainly seen it cause the aggression that you're talking about, and I've also seen it really poisons the e-collar.
Yes.
It's like when you try to train a dog that's been on an electric fence with an e-collar,
good luck.
There's so much crap you have to go through, and I find that the stress level that dog faces is always higher.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you do, their stress level is elevated if you ask them to do things with the electric. If you utilize the electric as a reinforcer in your training, for sure they're just because their initial experience of stimulation was the big stimulation from the electric fence, which maybe they weren't super clear on why they got it, and of course it's going to cause stress.
Yeah. And then when you go back even to the lowest level,
Yeah.
it's either freeze or complete avoidance.
Yes.
Every time.
Every time.
And it's on a level that's so low, the dog can barely feel it, but just the sensation of it,
I know what
caused
that
them to
is.
panic. Yeah. I know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
Like, it leads to nothing but problems.
Yeah, so if possible, avoid it. And if you are going to do it because you have literally no other choice,
Yeah.
I would suggest number one, e-collar training your dog first.
Yes.
Then number two, perimeter train your dog with the electric. That's if you want to know how to do that, we can't really go over that right
Not
now.
right here, yeah.
But that's something where, hey, like if you're in Tennessee, you call Diamond.
Yeah.
Hey, I need an electric fence. I need you to walk me through how to use this properly.
Yep.
And then he can, provide you guys or your company can provide these guys with the least the best practice when it comes to using the fence so that the dog is least likely to become stressed and insecure about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where a lot of people think it's an easy fix, but again, you know, as they say, easy money or fast money comes with slow problems.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with oftentimes fast solutions when it comes to dog training.
Absolutely.
Fast solutions can come with slow problems. So, yeah, definitely something to be concerned about. Now, I'm going to switch gears. For those of you that don't know, Diamond is actually a very accomplished breeder of Belgian Malinois.
Yes, sir.
So you you have competed with your Malinois. I know Christina has competed with her Malinois. You guys can find them online and see their performances. If you're YouTube, Facebook, you guys can see all that. But you were telling me about some of the successes you were having with your breeding program.
Yeah. So, you know, for us, we never sought out necessarily to be breeders, right? Like, you know, many of our dogs we bought from other breeders, and we just enjoyed having dogs, and, you know, we want to compete and go that route. But traveling as much as I'm able to and seeing different dogs, the type of dog that I enjoy was very difficult to find. And I was finding certain lines had these traits, and other lines didn't. And as I found them less and less, I said, hey, and we're a very small breeding program. We do 1, maybe 2 a year. And in most of the years, it's just one breeding. But they're hand selected, and we raise them, we train them, and that's what's very important for me is I get to see how the dog develops through my training and our training. Like, can you handle the stresses of this and the work ethic, and how did you develop, and how many fear periods did you go through, and working the dad, the mom, the grandpa, the grandma, and just understanding the lines and seeing tons of different litters off of them and understanding the genetics behind it. There's just certain lines that I enjoy and we enjoy and like, and we wanted to maintain that. So yeah, we started breeding, and yeah, it's worked out super well for us. You know, a lot of our dogs are still super young, but like this year alone at AWMA, the American Working Malinois Association, we had 5 dogs show. Last year at your guys' Canadian Nationals, we had 2 dogs that were supposed to show. And the coolest thing for me, being obsessed with genetics, is all but one literally earned their first IGP3 with that dog. Right?
So the handlers were new handlers.
The handlers may have gotten a 1 on a dog or dabbled here, but they're literally their first IGP3 title they earned with that dog, and then they took that dog to nationals. And 2 of those handlers, one had won Canadian Nationals, which we're super proud of. Another one made the FCI team from the United States. We had 2 dogs at the All Breed World Championships with, first-time IGP3 handlers that are, don't get me wrong, both very talented, very hard workers, above most people, but it just shows the genetics of a dog to be able to do that. And then females, and you know, we had the B litter, the C litter, the D litter, the E litter. So 5, 6, 7 dogs going to Canadian Nationals, US Nationals from 4 different breedings. And that's on top of, I mean, all the great homes that we have. We have several dual-purpose police canines, you know, across the board. But most people look to the sport and understand that. So, yeah, it just makes me super proud. And nothing to take away from all the handlers that put in all the work. They're all part of the family. We love them to death. But, yeah, it's really cool to see these dogs with handlers that are on this journey. And my thing has always been, I'd rather give you a dog that's too much and you can never take them to what they're capable of, than you have potential and your dog can't go there. Yeah. And that's what I really look for. So with that coming from our B, C, D, and E litter, and I got a dog from the H litter that's coming up. You've met him, Hawk, 2 years old. He's going to be something special. And we got a lot of dogs in the work, you know, from the G litter, H litter. We're about to do our I litter now. And for people that don't know, breedings go in sequence. Your first one's A, B, C, D, E, you know, just in case somebody doesn't understand that. And we have a female that's pregnant right now with her I litter. So with that limited window to have so much success with it, just really makes me proud of the work that me and Christina have done to really just talk to amazing breeders. Like anything, nothing's my idea. I've just been very fortunate to talk to great breeders and been blessed to work so many dogs, to hear where they're coming from. What do you like? Why do you breed this? Why do you breed that? What health testing do you do? Do you believe in this? And just hearing their ideas. Mm-hmm. And just like with training, along the way you make it your own.
That's right.
When you begin with training, you want to see everything. There's nothing wrong with that. And you want to look at this, and you want to look at that, and you want to touch this and touch that. And it gets you a big toolbox, a huge toolbox. But when you're doing all this toolbox, you don't know when it's time for a screwdriver and when it's time for a hammer. You got too many tools. Mm-hmm. You're reaching in your bag. So in the beginning, you're building up all these things. And then over time, and actually I think it was Ivan that said it, in the beginning you build up this giant toolbox. And as you get better, you spend all your time throwing out tools. Because you realize you don't need them. Yeah. It's not your wheelhouse, right? So you start to dial that in and bring it back in and kind of find what comforts you. So yeah, we're just very blessed to have so many great people tell us stuff, to work it out and go into the lab, our little science experiment, select puppies, pick them, find homes. And like I said, all these dogs aren't training with us. They're training all over the place. And so it's different trainers getting there. It's just really rewarding to just sit back, have a drink, and go, I think we're doing it right.
Now I've been around, I've seen some of the other dogs, but the one I've been around the most is Candace's dog,
Fizz, yeah.
Fizz, and he's a fantastic dog. I really like him for a Malinois, even though I tease her all the time and I call him a mixed dog.
Yeah, he's huge.
I'm like, hey, that's a nice mix you got there. What mix is that?
Yeah, very, very talented handler, and he is an absolutely amazing dog. He's the size of a horse. You could ride him.
Yeah, but he does have papers.
Yeah, he's AKC registered, DNA tested. He's good to go.
Yeah. DNA, guys. It's
actual DNA.
It's real. He's a real nice dog. Real stable Malinois, big Malinois, fast, strong. He's what you would want. Yeah. Especially, and the great thing is, even if you were a first-time handler, he might be a little much, but you wouldn't be in danger with him.
Yep.
Really nice dog.
Yep. And we take a lot of pride in that. I have a 13, 14-year-old son, so, them being kids and growing up, the most important thing for me is I don't care how they work on the field. If they're, they can have a place in a police department and many handlers, and I help out all kinds of trainers and handlers. That's not a problem. These dogs have a place, but for me, I need social. I need stable. I need clear. Mm-hmm. I don't need a 1-year-old Malinois still trying to run after my kids and bite them. I need very stable dogs, clear dogs. Because my dogs live in the house, right? They live in the house. There's more than one male around each other. Mm-hmm. There's a mama, a grandma dog, 11 years old, running the roost, and they're not allowed to pick on her or mess with her. And these 2 boys aren't allowed to fight. And I got 2 teenagers sprinting through and fighting with each other and playing video games. And I need clear dogs. You can't just be tearing off because the kids get excited. So that's the number one most important thing in the world to me. And then from there, we get into drives, genetics, and where that goes. But without that, they're not staying in my place, and I'm not going to put them into my breeding program.
I think that's really important. Sometimes we get so focused on aggression and power and drive that we do forget the stability, and the stability is not something that, unfortunately, you don't see it in a lot of Malinois. Yeah. It's something that's missing from a lot. It's why, you said, health is why I went to the Malinois.
Nerve is our hips and elbows.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Like, the Shepherd's hips, Malinois nerve. Like, that is our hip issues, right? Yes. So I went away from health. And then I just got into a breed that it's nerve, right? And lack of character and fear, aggression, and choosing forward and biting comes with it. So that's why I selected certain types of dogs, and we go that route. And even if a dog can't be a world beater or a powerhouse, the most important thing is it can still live in a home and go for a hike and play fetch, and you can have neighbors over. Mm-hmm. Like, if that's my worst case scenario, I'll accept that every day of the week.
Yeah, and for those of you guys that don't know, I was a Malinois guy for a while, and I went over to the German Shepherds because, I had little kids coming, and stability was really important for me, especially
tough.
When you have little kids, it changes your outlook completely.
Absolutely.
You're like, because they become priority number one, and as a parent, it's impossible to explain if you haven't been through it. But when you have little kids, they're literally the most precious thing on this planet, and you know that if something ever happens to them, because you weren't paying attention or because you allowed a dog to be in the home that you knew was a little bit iffy or a little bit dangerous, you would never forgive yourself.
Never.
And, that's where that stability becomes top of mind.
And that's one thing that German Shepherds have head over heels over most Malinois, right? They're stable, they're clear, and and you usually don't run into those issues.
Usually.
Oh, they still exist.
They exist.
Trust me, absolutely they exist, but a well-bred one doesn't do that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to jump to something else. I wanted to jump back into the sport for a second. Now, you mentioned that, well, you hadn't mentioned, the one thing that I like about working with you is I'm not just working with you, I'm working with all the people that you've worked with in the past. And you kind of alluded to it a little bit, that when you were posted in Germany, you got a chance to work with some of the top tier trainers in Germany. But you've also worked with some really top tier trainers here in the United States. And not just like 1 day, 2 days. You spent, like you were telling me, you spent time with these people.
Absolutely. It's, we talk a little bit about like the blessings and the curse of social media, right? The great thing with social media is you have so much access to knowledge that you've never had before. Like when I started, like we didn't have that. Like that wasn't everywhere. You couldn't go to a Patreon and see how to start dumbbells from start to finish. That just didn't exist. So it's great. It's allowed me over the years to reach out to super respectable breeders and things of that nature. And some people blew me off and other people talk back and, hey, you can come visit and you can come stay and you can come do these things. So that's good. The downfall is there's so much information that people don't know what to pick through, right? So it goes back to that. You spend in the beginning all your time building a toolbox, and then when you get great, you spend all your time getting rid of that toolbox because you realize it's just fluff. And it's not the shiny thing, right? It comes down to hard work, discipline, a good dog, that work ethic, and a great team that can do it over an extended period of time. Because you're going to run into struggles, and you'll work through it. So that really blessed me to be able to see that thing, to travel around. And when I see people bounce and, seminar to seminar to seminar, trainer to trainer to trainer, here for 2 days, there for 2 days, and they think they got it, I'm always supportive because I remember being that. That young helper that just thinks protection's everything. So like when my helpers come out, you can't touch my dog till you have a BH.
Yeah, that's a good policy.
Because at least you have some timing.
Yes.
At least you have some feel. If you can get a dog to do that routine, you probably understood reward and punishment and things of this nature. So you'll be a better helper. If you're a training helper, right, that hasn't at least titled a dog, you're missing out. You're lacking in lots of areas. But I remember being that guy. So I'm not mad.
No.
I don't belittle. I just watch their journey because most burn out.
Yeah.
Some come full circle. And when you do, I will be your biggest cheerleader because I've been watching it the whole time. And maybe they didn't listen then. But I remember being that. But all the people that took me in, and not for a day, not for a week, we're talking months or years of learning a system, learning a program, investing in it. And when you think you're so smart and that won't work and you don't like it, try it out.
Yes.
See it to the end. And in the end, it works. And you might go, oh, I like that. Right? But you were so objective to it, but you've never done it.
Yeah.
So how do you know? Or when somebody comes in and they go, I don't want you to do that to my dog. Why? You've never done it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you're coming here for 2 days, and you've seen me say it to tons of people,
yeah,
this is what I would do. You're here for 2 days, so I'm not going to do it. Because we need to spend 3-4 months together. And this is the route that I'll go. So I'll do this just to hold you over, but it's not going to work. And like I said, it takes important people and special people to take you in and let you see it. I don't want to see a trainer or learn from them when everything's going great.
Yeah.
What do you do when they struggle? When the dog doesn't do it? When he goes around the jump? When he's having gripping issues, right? Because you see the trial, and it's perfect, it's beautiful, but you're not there. You can't see that the dog does this on the grip, right? But then you see it in person, and oh crap, it does. So what do you do for it? Where were you at? So I'm huge on going all in on systems, not bouncing all over the place. Everybody that does it, I've seen it year after year after year after year. You're never going to be anybody.
They're at every seminar.
Yep. You can pretend it, right? You can pretend it, you're never going to be anywhere. But if it makes you feel good, do it. If you want to go to club because it's social, okay. But let's be honest with ourselves. Don't go to club for a social thing and say, I'm going to be a national champion. No, you're not. Let's be honest, right? You can bounce around from seminar to seminar, and you can do all kinds of cool drag this and click this and spin this and yep this, but you're never going to accomplish anything. You're all over the place. It's not going to work. Go all in, because what I have seen and what I have found, people that may not have the fanciest and coolest training, but they got a good dog, they're willing to put in the work, and they have a support system that's willing to do it over an extended period of time, will always beat everyone else along the way. But they'll all have an opinion, right? Never worry about they.
Yes.
They is the biggest enemy. Who cares? Put your blinders on, go to work. So when you say, oh, I don't see you all over social media, I got my blinders on. I'm going to work. I don't have time to be doing all that stuff. I'm training dogs. I'm helping people. We got a pet bit. We're grinding. And I got my blinders on. I come to work. But when it's time to show up, we'll show up. You don't got to worry about that, right? And the cool part is, we've seen each other many times over the years. But this weekend, you got to meet my mentor, right?
Oh, Pete Kovacs.
Pete Kovacs. I've learned from so many people. That's my guy. That is my team. That's my family. That's my mentor. I have learned more from that man than anybody else. When I was a young man with crazy ideas, he would look at me and say, you can go ahead and try that. If it works, we'll do it. If not, you do it my way. And I say, yes, sir. And 90% of the times, I look at him, I go, that worked out way cooler in my head. And he said, you're doing it your way. We're going to do it his way. Yeah. 10% of the time, it ended up right. But somebody that just let me do that. And that was super cool. So him, Mike Deal, I've learned so much from. I love that man to death. My first world championship, taking me under his wing. Anytime I can drop in, train, tracking. He doesn't fear from letting you see his struggle and his grind and his success and the things that he's taught me just from watching him. I can go on and on with a list of people that have taught me so much in this sport. But from spending time with them and seeing them and working with them and seeing the struggle and the heartbreak. But the beautiful thing is, you get away from all the shiny stuff, right? None of that stuff matters. So I'm a big proponent of investing in a team, being loyal, believing in it, working hard, grinding, having a good dog. Not, oh, well, I'm going to go to this helper. Oh, I need this person to do my obedience. I'm not going to give you almost any of my effort, right? Why would I invest in you if you don't invest in us?
Yes.
Are you on our team? Are you taking from our team? This is the difference. Now, we live in a trade business, right? It's a paid service. You can do this, you can do that. But to go all in, find a team. And there's so many people that don't have all the magic. Not the fastest helper or, the person that's won the high tracking or this. But they outwork everyone with a good dog and a good team. And that's what pumps me up. And, I'm a cheerleader for everybody. I hope it comes. But I'd love to just sit back and go, I remember being you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you come here.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. So social media is a blessing and a curse.
It is. And it's one of those things that obviously, if you're running a business in this day and age, it's an attention economy.
Yep.
And, people always ask me about how I have a small YouTube channel. In the grand scheme of things, it's quite small. 100K subs is not really. What is that? And there's people with millions of subs.
In the dog world, that's pretty successful, though.
There's dog guys. There's dog guys out there with a lot more than me.
Yeah.
But in terms of what was the intention behind it, I didn't start social media as I didn't think, I'm going to be a YouTube guy. And I'm still really not a YouTube guy, if you can't tell by the production value of the things that I do. Sitting here in Diamond's garage.
Outdoor garage.
Yeah, it's a little chilly. I got just my little camera up. But it started as just a portfolio because I figured, hey, if you go to a contractor and you say to the contractor, hey man, I want you to do the tile, you would expect that he's able to provide you hey, I did this bathroom and
Yeah.
that bathroom and I did this hallway, and they can give you a portfolio. So I said, as a dog trainer, if I'm asking people to trust me with their dog, their time, and their money, I should have a portfolio.
Absolutely.
And that's how the channel started. Then I would get frustrated about certain things, and I just, kind of vent a little bit on the channel, or I'd say, hey, I feel like sharing a little bit about where I'm at right now in my journey, and I would share it on the channel. So it's like, I feel like my channel is very organic. It's not, this is a promotional tool exclusively. I do promotional stuff, but then I just do stuff that I feel like doing. And I think social media, like you said, it's a blessing and a curse, because there's a lot of trainers that are social media trainers, and it doesn't go beyond that. You meet them in real life, or you see their dogs in real life, and it's like, ooh,
and you're doing it the right. You're doing it the right way. Like you said, there's so many people that are huge on social media, but I know them. I know they don't get that many dogs. I see how they actually live, right? On social media, it looks big and glamorous, and I'm going to get your dog, but it ain't working out like that for them. And they're putting out their bad content. So social media is great in learning if they're investing in the right thing. So if you have an e-collar course, or a loose leash walking thing, social media is great for that, right? Because they can go online to you, they can go online to me, they can check it out and go, oh, if I teach healing this way from start to finish, from somebody that's quantifiable, right? It can be, I can see it, feel it, touch it, it's real. I can trust that, and you can go on this. So that's the great part of it. Like I said, the downfall is I'm going to go over here. It's $500. Oh, that ruined my dog. I'm going to go over here. Like, that's the bad side of it.
Yeah, I guess so. If you were speaking to young dog trainers that were just starting out, of course, all of them, especially anybody born in the late 90s or early 2000s, the first thing they're doing, Instagram, Facebook.
Yep.
Well, probably not Facebook. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. Yeah. What would your advice be when it came to their approach to social media in terms of maintaining the efficacy of what they're doing as a dog trainer, but also still creating that content that's going to generate business?
So I don't think you gotta, like anything, don't make it bigger than it is. So even before social media, so this is my problem with it. Before social media, if you are going to be an engineer, you go to college. If you're going to be a doctor, you go to college, you're right, you got to work at the hospital, you're not getting paid nothing, you come around. But people think I'm going to be a dog trainer, and I post a Facebook page and I take your dog. This is the problem. It's not the social media, it's the lack of education. So if you decide you're going to go this way, it may be expensive for some people, but reach out. Like, go to your means. Dude, I used to sleep in the back of my car because I didn't have money to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks at somebody's place. Right? I didn't have money to pay you for this, but I'll clean your kennel. I'll do what I got to do. Put in the work. And the beautiful part is, when successful people see that you have drive and you have talent, you'd be surprised that all of a sudden, I got an extra little apartment.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? How about all of a sudden, you know what? If you come out here and you put in work, I'll give you a little stipend for food, right? Like, I'll give you room and board, pay a little bit of food, but you're going to put in work. You're going to let out dogs, you're going to feed, but you're going to learn, and they're going to take you in. Successful people like people with potential. And good humans know you're going to go off and start a business. They know you're not going to start there, but they want to do good in this world. They want to do good for the dogs. They want to do good for you. There are countless people that have come here and learned police work for free, learned helper work for free, learned how to train dogs for free, but they were in a position they couldn't pay, and I saw something in them. Not just if you just show up and I can tell you're not a dog man, like, you got to go, right? Like, that's not going to happen. But you can pay it back. So all I'm asking is to get your education, pay your dues, learn, educate, care about dogs, regardless if you got to sleep in your car, regardless if you have to clean kennels. Put in your education, then start your social media and show your work, right? And you're being honest. Now I'm looking for a client. Put it out there, because now you have an education. It's time for a job. Now, should you be charging out the roof? I mean, whatever. It's the market. People pay, whatever. I won't go into all that. But now you have an education. You're not going to do harm to dogs. Then you get on social media. Then you get your client. Then you show your work. Then you appeal to people. Then you build that portfolio. And then you start to do good work. You start to become successful. And you're not a revolving door. Everything's coming word of mouth. I don't need this ad and that ad. Like, of course we have Google ads and all this stuff. I'm not saying that's bad. Google ads is the most beautiful thing on the face of the planet, for sure. But most of your stuff becomes word of mouth. Then you're getting returning clients because now they got that next dog. And now all of a sudden you're running your area. Now you're booked up for months. Hey, I can't get to you for 6 months. I can't get to you for 7 months. You're booked up. You're doing something pretty good. And then if you want to get back to the world, now tell me how to walk a dog on a leash. Now tell me how to teach my dog to recall.
Yeah.
If you ain't done it, knock it off.
I 100% agree. And I'll say this, you know, just for my YouTube channel, for years it was just, this is what I can do, done.
Yep.
Look, this is me walking a dog, done. This is me with a dog off leash doing recalls, done. There was no instructions, there was no nothing.
Portfolio.
It's just a portfolio, period, done. And then after a couple of years, it's like it started to creep in a little bit. Hey, I got something to say.
Yeah.
Let me say something about this.
Yeah,
But
because now you've seen it.
You've done
right?
it.
You're building that portfolio, you're doing it, you're
Yeah.
seeing all these talented trainers, and now you're like, why do we have all these tools?
Yes.
We only need this one.
Yes.
Why are we doing this stuff over here? We don't need it. Now you have something to say with experience behind it.
Yes.
The problem is everybody's got something to say.
Without experience.
Without the experience.
Or even worse, they're saying something that they just heard someone else say.
Oh, the worst.
And there's nothing worse than doing that. Like, I mean, if Diamond tells me something, it's one thing, because I know Diamond and he knows me and I know his experience. But if I just heard some random dude on the internet or YouTube say something, and then I went and parroted it back to you guys, that's not credible information. I haven't tested it. I haven't done it with dogs. It's quite frankly, it's fraudulent. It's dishonest.
Absolutely.
Or it's plagiarism.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my idea. I've seen people like I know, like they'll do like this big vlog post and people will be sharing it all over and I'll be like, dude, you've trained 2 dogs. That is not something you came up with. In fact, I know the guy you got that from because I was there when he said it to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and people will do that. So there's so much of this kind of posturing that you see with social media where it's about the appearance. The other thing, my little pet peeve is this, and I'm sure you've seen this. So there's these trainers that are real big on social media, like YouTube or whatever. And they'll take like these dogs that really aren't that bad, like a little fear-reactive dog or whatever. They'll put a muzzle on it and,
he
you almost
bite
got me. Yeah.
Yeah. Your dog didn't need a muzzle. What are you doing?
I know, and they manufacture all this nonsense around it, and they just hype their A for acting, right? And they know how to kind of amp the dog.
And then all right, I'm about to take off the took off the muzzle. And they're walking. The dog's like, "Thank you, I'm thirsty." Like, what are you doing, right?
Hey, I'm more afraid of you than you are of me. Believe me.
Yeah, thanks for taking that thing off my face, man.
And the amount of hype that they build around it, and it's like, okay, look, I fixed them, and it's like, hey, bro, I wasn't the problem.
Yeah, at all. Absolutely.
But and that's always just been something. Like, it's funny. I always tell the guys, like, because I went through a period where I was like, okay, I need to make some videos of like aggressive dogs, befores and afters, whatever, right? I would say, okay, get Max out of the kennel. Oh, we corrected him yesterday for that. I'm like, what? I told you not to fix it until we got the video. You know how many times these guys did this to me? I said, don't fix it until we video it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, that's really what it is. It's not like this big hype train where it's like, oh, listen, there are some legitimate gangsters.
Yeah.
Most of you guys have not seen one on YouTube.
Very few. Very few. Far between.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not for all that rigmarole.
No.
Where we put on the bite suit and he's, yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's nipping at me.
Oh,
yeah,
look.
They're the 1%ers of the world. A truly dominant dog they're the 1%ers.
And the dangerous dogs, a lot of the time, they're not dramatic. Like, you'll get them in, maybe they'll be fine. They won't really do anything dramatic. There's no big dramatic video. They pick their time and they pick their place, and 9 times out of 10, your camera is not on. And when he comes, he's coming with all the smoke. Yeah. He's ready and he's coming to fight. And
you're not getting that big show because most of them they're correcting is they're fear reactive, or
Yes.
fix the fear,
Yeah.
or it's a learned behavior that has overrode fear reaction, and now they're like coming forward, and they just need a correction to go, hey, we don't do that anymore. That's all it is.
Yes, sir.
But a truly dominant dog, like you said,
Yeah.
they're not telling you about it.
No.
They're not showing you. And oh, by the way, that little old lady that's holding the leash ain't stopping her from getting to me, right? Like, it's not going to happen.
No.
They're going to yank anybody that's holding them down. They're coming at you. It's game over.
Yeah, it's just funny, It's kind of like it's watching like somebody fight like children.
Yeah.
Like look how tough I am. I beat that 7-year-old up.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a real dog guy and you know what a gangster is.
Yeah.
I know the general public watches and goes, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Dog trainer that's impacted your life the most.
So I always say Pete Kovac.
Pete Kovac.
Across the
I met
board.
Pete this weekend. He's a great guy.
Genius, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I'll say 4 for all different reasons. Number 1 will always be Pete. When it comes to just being a family member, like he's more than a team member, he's a family member to me. My biggest mentor, my sounding board, like just love that man to death. Number 2 of people I've learned from, like especially when it comes to the sport and just watching him compete and the time around him is Mike Deal. Number 3, very gifted trainer, one of the best in the world, trained so many people. But what I really took away from him was things outside of training a dog. It's about being with the dog, how to handle success, how to handle failure, how to handle clients, and what people want is T. Floyd. And then outside of the sport, just really thinking outside the box, and a dog man to its truest sense, a mad scientist, is Randy Hare. All day, every day. The man is a mad scientist. You can see a little seminar, this, that, but the things that man does in a place like this, that's just his lab, and sitting in a field and watching dog behavior and how it works is unparalleled. There's very few that'll ever come close to that. Learn from many, but I would always put those 4 at the top for me.
Awesome. Well, that's a solid group of characters.
Yeah.
Worst breed of dog for the average dog owner to own.
Dutch Shepherd.
Ha! I told you guys. How many
You
times?
told 'em?
How many times they put me? Listen, people shared that video. I did a video. Worst breed of dog for family members. So it's funny because I was here. I was talking to Diamond about it because he has a Dutchie in at his facility right now for trade. Little puppy, and we can already see what he's gonna become.
Yeah. 5 months old. Sweet little boy. Very responsive to food and ears up and looking.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some problems, right?
Yeah.
They're a more reactive, stubborn Malinois.
That's more prone to handlers.
Very prone to handler aggression. So any person that has a pet, getting a Dutch Shepherd for me is absolute insanity. It keeps the lights on, right? Like, as a dog trainer, I enjoy it from the sense of like you're always getting paid for them because no person can really handle them.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not going to happen. And the issues, but unfortunately with them, they end up going somewhere else. There's very few places where the handler has them and deals with it, and it usually ends up being too much, right? They have this reactive dog that's handler aggressive, and oh, by the way, we have a 2-year-old.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, just the absolute worst. Golden Retriever, like.
Yeah. Dutchies and kids, like small kids.
No,
man,
never.
You're rolling the dice.
Never.
You're rolling the dice, and it's at least they're doing the right thing. They brought the dog to you, and hopefully they put in the time and the effort, and it's going to be a lot of time and a lot of effort. Mm-hmm. They'll end up with a dog that they can manage and live with.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a bad deal.
Yeah, like I said, lots of training, lots of environmental stuff, depending on the dog. But controlling the environment, controlling the situation, tons of training, tons of learning with dedicated handlers that are willing to carry through can lead to it. And with anything, there's always that anomaly, right? There's always that washout, and you meet that Dutchie that's just the sweetest girl you've ever met, and just awesome. But that's not 99.9% of them.
We speak in generalities. We can't speak in exceptions.
Nope. Can't speak in those.
I've met golden retrievers that are badass that will do protection work.
Yep.
Don't get one for protection work.
Yeah. Been bit more by more golden doodles than I ever have a Malinois. Right? Like, just a fact.
best breed for family?
For me, golden retriever.
Ah, look at that, guys. We're 2 for 2.
I promise you this isn't a stage. I haven't seen this.
I never talked to him about it.
Yeah, this is not staged. But yeah, absolutely a golden retriever. The chances of them being human aggressive, handler aggressive, dog aggressive, environmentally insecure or worrisome is so few and far between. Like, it's just, they're usually pretty stable, lazy. And the fun part is, they can chase a ball. You throw a ball, they go get it. You know, like one of my favorite breeds of all time, a lot of people don't know this about me, is a boxer. I used to have boxers, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love the goofy personality of a boxer. I can deal with the stinky farts and the snorting, but I just absolutely love their personalities. The problem is the displaced energy.
Yeah.
They have all this energy, and they have nowhere to get it out at, right? You're not going to outrun it. You're not going to outwalk, unless you're some marathoner or something, right? You're not going to get it out of them. They're not going to chase a ball. They're not really going to play tug, right? Like certain ones will.
Yeah.
But you can't get the energy out. But then take a golden retriever. It's better because they get energy. I can throw a ball. We play fetch. And they do it 10 times. They come back and they're like, I'm good for the day, right? And that's why they'll forever be the best for me.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, we here at Shield K9 have a 10% golden retriever discount.
There you go.
We love our golden.
Yes,
my trainers always fight. No, I'm training him. No, I'm training. I'm like, all right, you got the last one. He or she's gonna get it this time.
They're the best.
Everybody loves golden.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So easy to train. So fun. Good personalities. Like, you gotta love a golden retriever. Best dog in the world for a family.
Last question. Why Diamond? Why the name Diamond? It's an interesting name.
So, I'll keep it simple. So, it's turned out to lead to lots of good things in my life. But, my family has lots of weird names due to family lineage. But I was simply named after my grandfather.
Okay.
That was it. So, Diamond was my grandfather that got me into all these dogs. They got this passion going and this obsession and led me to where I am today. That's the man that I was named after. We have a Grandma Ruby. We have a cousin Chance, because I guess it was a chance that he was born. So we got all kinds of just crazy names in there. But Grandma Ruby, Grandpa Diamond, and then I was named Diamond.
Wait, his wife was named Ruby?
No, not his wife.
Oh,
No. We had a grandma. We had a Grandma Ruby.
Okay.
And then Diamond, like I said, I was just simply named after him. So why she named him that, I'll never know. There's tons of folklore. Somebody will tell you this or that, like why it happened. But I just know I was named after him. But it's worked out well. Like growing up, it's like, listen, like my name's Diamond. No, it's not. I bet you $20. Bull crap. If I show you my driver's license, my name's Diamond, you'll give me 20. Deal. Come on, man. Right? Like I've gotten plenty of that throughout my life. So.
Well, at least you made some money off of it.
Yeah, I can't beat it.
I thought it was maybe because your parents were just so happy, you know.
No.
He's our Diamond.
I wish it was something super cool like that. Like, we'll just name you after your grandfather.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, Diamond, I'd like to thank you for sitting down with us and giving us a fantastic interview. Once again, I'm going to put the link in the description below for all Diamond stuff. His Patreon, where he has multiple video courses on how to do everything from dumbbell retrieves to obedience, a lot of IGP related stuff. And Diamond's quite the expert on IGP, hence why I'm here. Again, I'd just like to thank you, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you repeatedly over the preceding years. And I appreciate you also training with my dog. We're wrapping up 3 days of training. We're going to train a little more tomorrow, and then I'm going to jump on a plane back to Canada.
Yeah, we loved having you down, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And again, Diamond stuff is below, so check it out.